All right, today what we're going to take a look at is we're going to be doing the room packet number 6 windows. And in the packet it shows you these stained glass type windows that are kind of hard to follow, where you would kind of like find a window and trace it out and make certain parts transparent and then pull it up and be able to get it to look really well. We're going to do the same process but with a simpler window. So I'm just going to come up and I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to type in window, and I'm going to look at images. Wrong window. There we go. So not windows, but window. And we're going to take a look at a couple of images. Before I choose one, I'm going to show you images that you would not want to choose. This one here is an image. It's not straight on and it has drapes in front of it, so that would be really hard to edit. This one here has shadows on. For the most part, you want to get a straight on image like this. Some of these ones that kind of like are angled, that kind of jut out away from the building, can be difficult. You can choose a window if you see one that's taken straight on from the outside of a house, but this one has shutters on, so it could be a little bit more challenging. This window here that's open can present challenges just because the bar comes across. This particular window right here would work. It's a 6-panel or 9-panel window. This one would also be not be too hard to use. It opens and closes. I'm going to come back up to this one. I'm going to choose this one. Even though it shows the part where you would nail to the side of the wall, I'm still going to use it. So I'm going to save the image as, and I've actually already saved it as window number 2, but the process is save image as. Don't use a big long name. Use a short name. I already have window 1 and window 2, so I'm going to name this one window 3. It's going to go into my downloads folder, and I'm going to press save. So here it is. At this point, what I can do is minimize this or just go into SketchUp. So here's a different window that I used, somewhat similar. And before I put it on the wall, I'm actually going to put it on the ground outside. So I'm just going to come from above, looking straight down. Okay, and there's another one that I did before. I'm going to go File, Import, and go to Downloads, and it should be at the bottom, window 3 or 2, Import. It's going to go on kind of big like this. You can choose how big or small. Remember, you can zoom in to see it. Now, I don't want the white area on the top, on the outside. I don't want this part on the outside, although it's necessary in a real window. I don't want to look at it as far as our model. So I'm going to explode this. It doesn't go into bits. It just kind of like ungroups it. I'm going to select the rectangle tool. I'm going to select the outside of the window here. Zoom in, choosing it from here. At this point, what I can do is I can select the outside lines as well as the interior faces and delete them. Do that on both sides. Okay. Now I got this front to back. Now it's really thin like a slice of paper, so we're not quite done. And I also can't see through it. So now what I have to do is use my rectangle tool, and again I'm going to come up from above, choosing like where I think the glass plate might be. Oops, and let's see if I can. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Now instead of redoing this 9 times, now that I have one done, each panel should be the same size, so I'm going to double click or triple click so that I select it in the edges. Use the move tool, and I'm going to press the option key. That gives me the plus symbol to make a copy, and I'm going to drag it straight across. And I'm not going up or down, I'm just going across, and there it is. Now what I should have done is I should have painted this a glass so that when I copy my images, and you got to do this to both sides, but if you do this last, then you have to do it individually in each one. So if you remember to do it in the beginning, then it'll apply. Now you might think that I'm just clicking on that, but I'm not. Remember, these are subdivided sections. So actually, what I'm going to do is select both of them. So I held down the Option key and I double clicked on one and then double clicked on the other. I'm going to look at it from above, use the Move tool, press the Option key, just click on the corner, dragging straight down. Okay, there we go. And because I colored it before, they're colored again. Same thing again, press the Option key, click on the corner, drag down, and click. Now you might think I'm done, but the only problem is there's no thickness to it. So the last thing you got to do is use the Push-Pull tool to add some thickness to it. And notice the insides went up too. And I'm going to go around to the bottom side, and I'm going to push-pull on it as well, down a little bit. Okay. And then that will give us our sensor window. Okay. Now to easily make copies of this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a component. So I'm going to select my window and all its edges, everything is contained. I'm going to right click and say Make Component. And I'm going to call it a window. And I already have one of these done, so I'm going to say Window 3. I want this to go onto walls, so I'm going to say Glue to any surface. And I also want the opening to be cut, so I'm going to say Cut Opening. And say Create. Now this window looks like it's going to be too big, and I'll show you how you can fix that in a second. If you know a certain size, you can edit the component to make it a particular size. So I'm going to zoom in, too close, so I can see my wall I want to put these on. And what I'm going to do is go up to Window, the part that says Window, click on this and say Components. And here's my Window 3. Click and drag in. Wow, is that a big window, like the size of a door? So I'm going to do something. I'm going to say right click, Edit Component. Select everything. So everything is, meaning the window, everything in the window. And I'm going to scale the component. If you hold down the Option key, it'll scale towards the center. So that looks a little better. So I should be able to see through if I orbit. It should have cut an opening. And it didn't. So maybe I forgot to, when I was editing the component, to do something. So I'm going to say Edit Component. Going over here, Window 3. I'm going to move this down here real quick. Oh, there it is. I'm not sure, maybe it was just a little bit lagging. So I'm going to move this up, and the hole should move with it to make a copy of it. And I could drag out, them one at a time, or I can make what's called a series. Click on this, press the Move tool, press the Option, just like I did before when I was copying the individual panes. I'm going to come straight across and type in 2 and then divide by. And the one you see there is one of the two. And when I press Return, it puts the third window in the middle. Now if I want to do 4, I could say 4 divide by, or whatever I want. And if you do windows on each wall, they should probably be the same distance down. And you're going to notice mine are not, so I would need to fix that. I think that this one has a little better height, so I'm going to click and drag down with this guide tool. And I'm going to click on the top here and drag down. Hopefully those are at the same height. They were not, so I'm trying to fix that. Straight down. Now that allows me to be able to move these windows down so they go to the level of the dotted line. And I would just need to repeat that process just so that when you look at the room, it's nice in symmetry and the tops are lining up the same distance from the top of the ceiling. Okay? So that's how you do windows.